Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi. There's a lot happening in Pakistan which we probably know about, have been talking about, and have been kind of speculating about where Pakistan is headed. A lot of people are talking about a martial law in Pakistan. That is something very interesting. There is a former prime minister who came out and said this, and of course, our media lapped it up as saying that this is a real threat. This is interesting when we see some of the media which is supposed to be analytical, who actually pick this up and actually talk about a martial law threat. The problem is that the level of thinking is actually benign, if I may say that. We have lost a certain track of connecting the dots within Pakistan. There are loads of things happening that we need to connect the dots, including the Poonch attack, which will tell us actually what is taking place in that country and what is going to go forward. In this endeavor, I've obviously collected a whole lot of slides for you, which I'm going to discuss. I'm sorry if I'm a bit slow. I'm under the weather, so just please tolerate me if I slip up somewhere. But before that, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. We're approaching 20,000 followers. I think we're about 19,430. Let's hit 20,000 in the next couple of days as a community and as a family. Thank you so much for all your help till now. And if you can, please do support the Dev Talks efforts. The QR code is right here. Or you can become a member, or you can give us a super sticker or super chat. Let's get into the presentation. Okay, somebody says everything is fine. Okay, thank you. I hope you're talking about Pakistan. Is it right? Let's get into this. Martial law or not, making sense of the mess. Pakistan is obviously a mess. It's something that we've been talking about on this particular platform with many different people. Many other people talk about it as a joke. I don't think it's a joke. We do laugh certain times, but Pakistan is a dangerous place that can result into a lot of problems for India if we don't keep a track of what is happening in that country. Now, what's the base situation? What's happening in Pakistan? There's a fight between the judiciary and the government and, of course, the army, wherein there is a certain election date of the Punjab, which has been fixed somewhere in the middle of May, I think 14th of May, where the judiciary is ordered, since Imran Khan dissolved the assemblies, judiciary has ordered, the Chief Justice of Pakistan himself ordered that the elections must be conducted within 90 days. Right? And they said this is as per the constitution of Pakistan. It's interesting that a country like Pakistan uses phrases like the constitution to justify what it's doing. But in any case, the current government said, listen, we don't have the cash, can't do it. The army says, boss, we are busy. With what? Everybody knows. Okay, there is a TTP attack, so-called threat from India, this and that and the other. The interesting part about this entire game is that there is a battle line which has been drawn between the judiciary, the government, and the army. Judiciary at the moment seems to be standing with Imran Khan, right? And that's something which is well known. And the rest of the guys are standing on their own and trying to do whatever they want to do. I'm not a supporter of Imran Khan. I find him to be extremely dangerous, as a matter of fact, because he's Taliban Khan with his wife being in the picture, Mrs. Taliban Khan, if I may. There's going to be a lot of problems. The issue that I want to talk about, thanks, John, I am looking good. Thank you so much. I am actually not feeling that great, but I had promised you guys that about this expose, I have prepared for it, and here am I doing it. So let's get into it. So as I said, judiciary is fighting with the government. The government passed a law saying that the judiciary's powers will be limited with regards to all these things. And then today, to push the point home, the government actually stood by and did a confidence motion, a no confidence motion or confidence motion within the parliament, which of course Shehbaz Sharif won. And then they have said that we will not be doing the election at this particular time. Interestingly, that puts Shehbaz Sharif directly in the firing range of the courts because it makes him culpable. He's the leader of the government. Why is all this happening? What's happening here? At the end of it, we know something for a fact that nothing happens in Pakistan without certain agency I'm not saying the army, certain agencies at a certain place of a certain kind at a certain time having it done. This is something which I want to talk about in the next 30 seconds. We always think that the Pakistani army is a monolith. But in the past some time, we've realized that there are multiple fractions within the Pakistani army, which is preventing it from actually taking the decisions together. I put a short clip with Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh, who actually spoke about this. And that was an interesting show, guys. If you can, please do watch that. It'll give you quite an insight about what Pakistani army is actually facing today. Let's get to the next one. Now, when the army said that we are busy, what are they busy with? They said TTP is fighting there, and then of course we have threat from Raw. See, Raw sells. Yeah, TTP, CTP is all रोज मारते हैं यार, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? वो तुम और थोड़ा सा कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. But the raw threat is serious. You know, if the Pakistani army goes and tells the Supreme Court, a group of 4 generals, a little, I won't say birdie because birdie is from Elon Musk. Let me see. A little butterfly. Okay, I like butterflies. So a little butterfly came and told me that 4 generals met the Supreme Court Chief Justice and actually presented a case, did a presentation telling him about the threat perception in Pakistan. This happened about 2 days ago, where they were trying to convince him to leave his stand of the election and actually let the process or whatever's happening in Pakistan go on the way it is going on. And they said Raw may exploit the fault lines in Pakistan. Defense Ministry says that polls in provincial assemblies to leave country vulnerable in a report submitted to the Supreme Court. Right, step 2. Bilawal says he will go to India for the SEO. Interesting. And this was out of the blue, isn't it, guys? Just popped in and suddenly said, I'm going to the SEO. Today, the defense minister's meeting is happening. The Khwaja Asif, who's the defense minister, has not bothered to come. He's so-called attending it virtually. I'm sure he was sleeping there. But in any case, he says he's going to go to the SEO meeting. Why is this happening? Remember one thing, anything that is going to happen in Pakistan from now on is going to be a showcase to someone somewhere. So this is an internal showcase of the so-called sincerity of the Pakistani army for internal audience and courts. They're trying to say, see, we don't have anything against India, but Raw has something against us. हम तो भेज रहे हैं यार, Bilawal Bhutto is going to India. We are sending him for a meeting and everything like that. We are doing flag meetings at this thing. ईद की मिठाई बांटी है हमने तो, वो सब ठीक है. The problem is, we need to, at this point of time in step 2, I want to put this across very clearly. Anything that will happen against India would also largely be governed by internal factions within Pakistan. This is something that we need to understand very, very carefully. The internal politics in Pakistan is getting heated up as the elections and this and that going to come forward. There's going to be a lot of heat. So they will want to divert the heat a little bit. As I said, Bilawal Bhutto said, I'm going to go there. But the Pakistani Twitter was not happy. They said, yaar, tu bhag ke ja raha hai India? What is this nonsense? And then after that, it seems India says they did, Pakistani says they didn't. They asked for a bilateral meeting with Minister Jaishankar, which obviously was denied after the attack, by the way. So again, that snub, ridicule, Bilawal Bhutto, pretty used to it, I guess so. That's what happened in Pakistan. Now, this is where I bring in the main factor, the Poonch attack. Terrible. We lost brave men. Even one or an injury is too much. Losing men is not acceptable. But when we look at this attack, and you look at what happened in Pulwama, the size of that attack and the size of this attack, it tells us something. What is the reason for this attack? They could have done a lot more damage. Why didn't they do it? They just wanted to light a fire somewhere? Let's see. Now, the army says after this attack that there is a threat. By India will do a surgical strike. And who better to find is a former Indian High Commissioner to come out and say that? Abdul Basit. He's quite a rabid mouth, by the way. In India, a lot of people liked him and called him for biryani dinners and this and that, apart from the fact. But this is what he said: Pakistan fears another surgical strike by India. And he said that this is a retaliation for something that the freedom fighters in Kashmir for hitting a legitimate target of the Indian army. His words, not mine. There's a huge controversy blowing out on the Indian media about it. Problem is, they won't join two and two together. So the army has put out a message that yaar surgical strike hone wali hai. Gone to the Supreme Court, gone to the people, gone to the worldwide audience that listen, this is what has happened. Now India is going to threaten us. We are under threat. We need to be careful. That's why we can't do elections. Now what's up, Pakistan? The DGISI did a Ahmad Sharif Chaudhry. तो नाम इतने बड़े बड़े होते हैं ना इनके काम कुछ नहीं है बट नाम बड़े बड़े. Anyways, he did a press conference recently. The reason for that press conference I will tell you. And he says that India violated the ceasefires 56 times in the ongoing year. 3 violations of airspace, 22 incidents of speculative firing, and 25 technical violations of airspace. And he says Pakistan shot down 6 Indian spy quadcopters. I'd like to send him a WhatsApp if anybody has a number that, buddy, we shoot down that many in a week. You're talking about the year. But in any case, this is not a comparison between India and Pakistan. So this is what he said. Why is he coming out and saying this right now? Threat perception. I'm sure you're following what I'm trying to say. Now, what is the purpose of this Poonch attack? Let's put every little thing into the context. And as I like to do it, join the dots. Bilawal said he will go to India. Bilawal is, of course, the guy that wants to be the loyal Pakistani army chap. And let me show you what exactly he has said. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari wants to be the reliable anti-India patriot that the army needs. Okay, so this is a headline from Pakistan. From let me go back. I'm sorry. Here we are. Right. So Bilawal Bhutto wanted to come to India. Now यार बिलावल भुट्टो गोइंग टू इंडिया मतलब कुछ बादशाह हो गई जयशंकर साहब के साथ हाई हेलो हो गया तो दिल बी अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ प्रॉब्लम. सो व्हाट डू यू हिट समथिंग in India so that what happens, tensions go up. Indians say boss tu dur rahe yaar mujhse, I am not wanting to talk to you. And what the army has done, or the ISI, or whoever's behind this attack, has put Bilawal in his place and told him, listen, you can't do anything, you just go there, attend the meeting and come back, that's it. There is no possibility of a bilateral meeting of any kind. And these two things, the announcement of Bilawal Bhutto coming into India and the attack, happens hours of each other. A little curious. Why would the army do this? The army also propped up Imran Khan. There are loads of people who actually tell the army today that, listen, yaar, you used to say, ye kya wo, some, kahan, asman se utra hai, something, something, something. Now you're telling us he's bad. Because इमरान खान की जो वो लीश होती है ना, थोड़ा सा लूज छोड़ दिया था. When they left it loose, Imran Khan went all over the place. They didn't learn the lesson from so many other prime ministers in the past. Tells you a little bit about the Pakistani army. But this time they think they've learned the lesson and they said, यार लीश थोड़ी ना बिलावल भुट्टो की टाइट करके रखो. No option for Bilawal Bhutto to do anything. Control hai bhai, control hai. Very important to note this. Bilawal Bhutto, of course, has been polishing his CV all around the world. कभी यहाँ पर जाके कुछ बोलता है, कभी वहाँ पर जाके कुछ बोलता है, कभी he talks about Kashmir, sometimes he talks about Palestine and Kashmir and this and that and some butcher of Gujarat and this. He's been in the limelight, right? So he's trying to polish his resume. And he's had dreams of becoming a prime minister not from now. from the past about 5 6 years ago. Search it on Google. You will be able to see news items where references to this particular factor has been made. Now the fight is, of course, with the courts. That's the that's the opposition that the Pakistani army is facing today. Otherwise, यार कोर्ट शॉट तो यार ऐसा है, क्या वो डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ नेसेसिटी ठोक के दे वुड हैव टेकन मार्शल लॉ कितनी बारी पहले कर चुका है. Obviously, the courts are not on their side. So all this probably is being done to showcase to the court that listen, we are getting hit from the TTP on the west side, and right now Modi Saab is showing eyes on the east side. भाई थोड़ा टाइम दे दो यार, यहाँ पर सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक होने वाली है. We need to. Pakistan has a 6 or 7 lakh people army, plus they've got about 2 3 lakh armed police or armed whatever reserves and this and that. They've got a total about 8 10 lakh guys in uniform. It's interesting that they can't spare people in one state for an election. Courts are obviously openly on Imran Khan's side. A lot of people say that there is a relation of some kind between the Chief Justice of Pakistan and Imran Khan. And as I said earlier, battle lines are formed. Now, see, you can't threaten a judge, right? You can't. At least till now, Pakistani army has not gotten to that point. They probably did it to the lower courts and this and that. But when the news comes up that much, it's interesting. Now, mauke pe chauka. This is very important for us to know. Chance pe dance, as people would say it in Delhi, right? I've lived in Delhi for 8 10 years, so I kind of know the language there as well. Mauke pe chauka or chance pe dance. Hamid Mir comes out. Hamid Mir has very thin lines in terms of connectivity with people, but he's known to be favorable to the civilians, not to Imran Khan at least, and favorable to the current lot that is kind of ruling the country. And he said that Qamar Javed Bajwa, Pakistani former general and the army chief, he had came out and said that we don't have the ammunition, the economic strength, हमारे tank नहीं चलते, हमारे जहाज नहीं चलते, this, that and the other. So that's when you look at it, why did this guy come out and say this at this point of time, discrediting the army? Which side is he on is difficult, but I found a snippet which tells me that Shehbaz Sharif had ordered special security to be given to Hamid Mir on the 17th of April 2022. That's about a year and 10 days or ago. Is there a link between both these factions? Is something that we'll have to see in the future. Hamid Mir has been quite an unguided rocket. That's something that people know, and he's got shot for it as well. So now Hamid Mir came on and said, यार ये तो लड़ नहीं सकते, क्या है ये? उसके बाद यार ये तो करना ही पड़ा. क्या? DGI SPR साहब आए बाहर, and he said we can take the battle to the Indian territory. What he was trying to do was negate the claims of lack of operational preparedness, right? And they said, यार ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, हम हिंदुस्तान को चेप देंगे. We can take care of India. We've got enough ammo, we've got enough this and enough that. अब देखो यार, आर्मी पे अगर डंडा पड़ेगा तो जवाब तो they have to give. They have to come out and defend themselves. And that's interesting because the army seems to be on a back foot. Now, what did the military do? He said, यार ये ठीक नहीं है यार. This is bloody, every Chief Justice of Pakistan is this thing. Hamid Mir is talking here. So many YouTuber is talking here that Major Adil Raja, they caught some time ago. They confiscated his property and this and that. There's another guy, that Wajad Sayed Khan, who's also a very well-known military journalist of Pakistan. He was also called a Gaddar, by the way, in the same DGI-SPR meeting. But the military had to hit back against the courts. So they hit back against journalists. Now it's court ki bari. What did they do? They recorded a private conversation between the mother-in-law of the Chief Justice of Pakistan and the wife of one of the lawyers of Imran Khan's party. This was a very interesting conversation, although I can't play it here because I'll get hit by copyrights. If anybody wants it, I have it saved with me. Let me know. I'll share it with you, or I'll probably put a link in the description by the morning. She said that, ये क्या कर रहे हैं? What are they doing? This is useless. This is pointless. They were very upset with the Shahbaz Sharif government and the army. At one point of time, the conversation came to the point कि भाई अगर if nothing happens, martial law लगाना पड़ेगा. And one of the ladies turned around and said, martial law भी तो नहीं लगा रहा ये. The acceptance of the army rule. Interesting as a socio experiment where you're trying to see um, how people think. But this call was leaked. This is obviously an attack on the Chief Justice of Pakistan, coming out in the open and saying is this guy is in link with Imran Khan. That's why we are fighting him. Although these guys don't have to wait that long. Huh? The Chief Justice is going to change, I think, in about 1, 2, 3 months. So there's going to be some issues there as well. Now, where did this talk of martial law came out? Although Pakistan में तो यार martial law तो हर time लगा रहता है. इसमें कोई there is no, it's been there since the day one. But where did this particular talk come out from? A former Prime Minister, Khakan Abbasi, he came and said, "Bhai, crisis is deep enough to attract military takeover in Pakistan." Interesting. Now, why did he say that? Because he said that ऐसा है भाई, when previous times the situation was better than even then the Pakistani army took over. So why not now? That brought in that news to India. A lot of Indian media picked it up. This, that, first post, this, that. All lot of channels picked it up. Martial law coming in Pakistan. Martial law coming in Pakistan. Martial law coming in Pakistan. Look at where he's coming from. He's from PMLN, Nawaz Sharif's party. Now, there could be two-pronged derivatives of this statement. One, he's saying that yeah, pehle army used to take over, now they're not. So they're a very nice army. Two, he's protecting himself, Nawaz Sharif and his party, saying that यार ऐसा है, ये तो ऐसी है, ये ले लेंगे वापस हमारे से, they will throw us out. But this is how these guys are. I told you so. Interesting. That tells you something. National consensus as a policy in Pakistan is missing. One guy wants to go east, one guy wants to go west, one guy wants to go north, I don't know where to, and one guy wants to dig a hole in the ground and bury himself. What else is up in Pakistan? I have another 3 more slides before I come to the crux point of this presentation. Short one, I don't want to exert myself a little bit. What else is up? Asim Munir is in China, and the Chinese General Zhang Yuzia. Sorry, General, if I mispronounced your name, but he says that China's biggest priority in the neighborhood would be Pakistan. Then he also told Munir that, listen, you need to secure our assets and our people and stuff like that. And he said this nonsense will not be acceptable. It will have an adverse effect on the all-weather friendship. एक तो ना यार ये China and Pakistan have kept these terms and all that. It's just a little funny. All-weather friendship. In the 1967, not 60s, but probably 70s, 80s, they came up with fighter aircraft that were all-weather fighters. So it's interesting that they call their friendship that. China again demanded military outposts within Pakistan. And they said, Bhai Sahab, you can't protect us. Let us stand there. Interesting. China entering its Afghanistan. Can Pakistan be an Afghanistan to China if the Pakistani army allows them and this and that and stuff? How long will they resist? Question we'll have to see. What are their priorities? Army Saab has called up Ukraine. Matlab, one has a smaller bowl, one has a bigger bowl. And said, भाई हमको Mi-17 helicopters के engine spares दे दो. And there's a Ukrainian defense company. And guys, okay, I'm going to say this very clearly. You will not find this many places. Okay? This is, if I may, quite difficult to get out. There's a Ukrainian defense company, Motor Sich, which has been awarded a contract of 1.5, $1.6 billion. $1.6 million, not billion. The interesting thing about this thing is that tells you their priority. Pakistan was also exporting Anza Mark II man portable air defense systems to Poland, meant for Ukraine. These transportations have been happening through a Karachi based firm, Millennium Technologies, and Poland's Omida Sea and Air. I'm giving you the company names. Don't ask me for my sources. I'm giving you the company names. And if anybody is interested, I could actually tell you the dates of shipments as well, the numbers of shipped and the dates of shipment as well. Interestingly, I couldn't add this into the slide. My apologies, but there was a open statement by one of the generals who said that these rockets that they've sent, they had sent some 10,000 of these Grad rockets to Ukraine. They're not working there. They're faulty and this and that. So there was a little bit of a Ukraine is a crybaby, just like Pakistan. So pressure from the Indian side issues a warrant against 23 terrorists hiding in Pakistan and POK. And by the way, this request has also been taken up to the Interpol level. Very interesting. So the pressure is up. Bilawal is coming to town. Can we give him a little bit of a चिट्ठा पत्रा भाई ये बंदे हैं हमको दे दे वापस dossier. Now, the final slide. What is the purpose of this Poonch attack? And a little more. As I said, all these are internal games. Now, one might ask a certain question and say, "Yaar, Bilawal said he's coming here. Poonch attack happened within hours. You what? You're not thinking correctly. How are you joining the two dots?" I mentioned very clearly that Bilawal Bhutto wants to be favorable to the army. He wants to sit on that chair. Why? Don't ask me. But he wants to sit there. Now, if he wants to sit there, he will probably go along these little games that the army is going to play. I am not saying that Bilawal was unaware of the Poonch attack or aware of the Poonch attack. I am saying his announcement and the Poonch attack were very carefully planned. These are all internal games that people are playing within Pakistan. The threat is very big. Give us money. पैसे दे दो भाई. पहले nuclear blackmail, then Afghanistan, then this, then that. Now, there is a whole lot. Bajwa against the recommendation came towards the end of his term and mostly done by Imran Khan. Munir people are openly abusing even now. That tells you that all is not set in the army. Supreme Court is not in line. Journalists are talking out of turn. Public is divided. Never happened before in Pakistan for the Pakistani army. So why would he impose a martial law? Let's see. Will he or won't he? The army is divided itself. Right? A lot of detractors from Pakistan call him Lieutenant General retired Asim Munir Bajwa because they don't believe that he was deserving of that position. I'm no judge to that, but that's what it is. So the army is divided. And of course, as it is, it takes, in Pakistan, it takes a new army chief about a year or two to take the other people out, get his people in and set up the place. It takes time, yeah. You can't just purge the entire top general staff. You'll have a revolt. So army is not yet set, right? Why would the army want to take over this damn mess which is happening in terms of the economy, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of everything? The blood will be on their hands. They don't want that. If Shahbaz Sharif is doing the work, let him do it. Instigate him. He proved his majority in the courts. Obviously, ISI would have called up people in there, vote karo hai. Instigate him to fight the courts. Gardan kiski hai? Shahbaz Sharif ki. Look at it from Shahbaz Sharif's point of view. What will happen? Nothing. He'll become the prime minister over 1-2 years in Pakistan. For the rest of his life, he'll be known as the former prime minister of Pakistan. Get his pension, get this, get that, and the other. get probably a little money from the army, and that's it. A lot of us won't understand where I'm coming from, but please understand one thing: Pakistan is not a normal country. We need to think about it the way Pakistan thinks, not the way we think, not the way we have our honor system and logic and stuff like that. It's not the way Pakistan works. Now, there's pressure going to come from China. Let the civilians take it. Why should the army take it? Obviously, army को खड़ा होना पड़ेगा यार. But if you take over, then पूरा तुम्हारे सिर पे. Hands off from the economy, man. Why am I bothered? ठीक है, I've got a black market selling drugs, selling this, selling that. I've got a 45, $50 billion Fauji Foundation business. Why am I bothered if so hands off? हाँ कभी कभार मेक अ कॉल और टू एंड गेट IMF दिस एंड दैट ये वो थोड़ा कुछ करा के सऊदी वौदी चले जाओ एक आधा बिलियन ले आओ थोड़ा किकबैक भी आ जाएगा वो सब हो जाएगा दैट्स पर्सनल बट ऑफिशियली आई डोंट थिंक ही केयर्स step in only when you need it otherwise as it is you have control over the back end nobody's going to go against you if they do you'll pick them up and put them in. The interesting thing I came to know today, in Pakistan, there are 27 agencies looking after internal security. I'll probably do a little more detailed thing about this, but just leaving you with that figure 27 agencies just looking at internal security. This is not financial security, this is not anything else, it is just internal security. Now, Billu Rani needs to be groomed. Every chief makes a prime minister. मुनीर भी बनाएगा यार ऐसे कैसे यार how can I मैं बिल्लू को बनाऊंगा a lot of people will argue Mariam Nawaz is also good this thing but you know Nawaz Sharif family thoda sa doubty and she's spoken against the army a lot of times. Bilawal is a controllable character. His father is a controllable character, could be handled. Money shani 10%, they're fine. So what will the army do? Worst case scenario, maximum I'm saying, they will impose an emergency, and that will also be, by the way, done by the civilian government, right? But the narrative will be these bloody civilians are useless. That's what they call the civilians, right? A lot of things that we need to understand about Pakistan happen in front of our eyes, and we sometimes fail to pick up the hints. The hints are very simple. The army will not want to come in, as far as I think at the moment. I may be wrong, but logic kind of tells me no. They will drag on Shahbaz Sharif as long as they can, probably run his name in the ground with regards to the economy. He'll be unelectable in the future. Who cares? I don't think he even cares. There's a lot that we need to look at in Pakistan. We always look at in Pakistan and make a joke about it. Understand one thing: these guys are not fools. They plan a lot of things, and their internal politics. And if my logic is correct about the Poonch attack, is flowing over into us. So the more the politics in Pakistan actually deteriorates, the more vigilant we need to be. That's what I wanted to say, guys, and I'm going to get into your questions. So before I do, like the video, subscribe. As I said, if you can, please do help out the Dev Talks efforts. The QR code is right here, or you can become a super. You can send us a super sticker or a super chat, or of course, you can become a member. Ishan, thanks so much for your contribution. He says, "Hey Aadi, I'm, in my own honest opinion, there has always been. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow with this SMS lingo. There's always been a sort of martial law in Pakistan. Every elected PM, they have had either complete subservient to the military deep state or forcibly removed from power. No question. You're absolutely right. But having said that, the main thing is, I would say between 73 and 75, 76, थोड़ा सा martial law जुल्फिकार अली भुट्टो ने हटा लिया था. ठीक है, where he had ridiculed the army and stuff like that after the 71 war. But you're right. They've done it from day one. They're doing it right now. The mode and the means have changed. Ishan, once again, thank you so much. Do you think Bilawal is trying to lay the three foundations of its own attempt on becoming the PM with his overtly loud mouth? I said, CV chamka raha hai apni. I don't think there's a better way of putting it. CV chamka raha hai. He's going around getting to know people so that he can go out. I am Bilawal Bhutto. I am the Prime Minister of Pakistan in that dirty accent of his. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. And I believe for a fact that the army is going to help him. And this is something we'll have to see in the next 1 or 2 years. What's going to happen? Jai Hind to all of you guys, whoever is wished here. Jagpreet Saab, you say it seems there's a cycle of martial laws in Pakistan that seems to repeat itself after a decade or so. That is true, sir. But today, if they put a martial law, they'll be cut off. Americans won't accept it. Chinese probably won't accept it. They won't be able to accept it. A lot of the Middle Eastern countries will not accept it. And there's going to be a bit of a challenge with the IMF, which they need right now. So, you know, back end martial law, थोड़ा सा remote control martial law. That's what I think they're going to have is going to happen, and it's been happening actually. The hybrid regime factor, assassination of Mr. Khan. What is the probability of assassination? Earlier, everyone against establishment are assassinated. That's what I'm telling you, Saab. The army is divided. Who's helping him? There are a lot of rumors that Faiz Hamid still has a lot of pull within the Pakistani army. Is he helping him? A lot of people say yes. I say yes. I think that he's also in bed with the TTP. You never know. With, of course, Pakistan's ex-first lady, Bushra Bibi. But that assassination seems to be a little far-fetched right now, considering Imran Khan has a lot of support. They tried it last time and they got a backlash for it. I think they'll take it a little easy unless they are foolish enough and they are risk averse enough to light the entire country on fire and deal with it after that. It's another way of doing stuff. Recent attack was to make India do a retaliatory attack and prove that India and attack to delay the Pakistan elections. I mentioned that. Right. You're someone new. Hello, Homo sapien. Raghunandan says, sir, this attack and how they ambushed and exited from the scene. This is done by Pakistani Army SSG under the garb of terrorists. Your view? I won't be surprised. Their border action teams, BAT teams, and SSG teams have been part of certain attacks, certain terrorist-based attacks in the valley before. I won't be very surprised. It was a very precision attack, and if you see the kind of narrative that has come out, the social media narrative that this stupid group has put out, it's interesting. It's quite planned and it's quite well organized. Pakistani army will conduct election. It will be rigged, and Imran Khan will not win. So, view on it. Yeah, fair enough. You could say that. But what are the consequences of that? Will the people accept it? Will there be protests? Will there be bums? Will there be strikes? Will there be fights on the streets? There's a loads of things. Understand one thing. That's the reason why this situation is curious in Pakistan. We always say this sort of stuff has happened before. It has. This time it's a bit different and it's a bit more dangerous. If Poonch is to curtail Bilawal, it was remarkably quick. I think I spoke about this, John Sub, where I said that it's all planned. Vijay says, don't you think Pakistan was and is always on martial law since its creation? I think we answered that. It's just that they masquerade their own people for good and the world doesn't care. What do you say? The world does care, but the world is a bit scared of the nuclear weapons that it carries. And that's the crown jewels of Pakistan. You remove them, nobody's going to tolerate it. Rahul says many people said that this was not a good area to hit Pakistan now because Pakistan's internal politics. We would have been helping them if you would have hit them. Why India should care about it anyhow? They are anti-India and all the time, no matter what happens, you can hit them anytime you want. If the hit is gonna help the Pakistanis, why do it? Let them expend fuel, flying their aircraft on combat air patrol. Let them expend their fuel running generators to run their radar systems. Let their troops be on the front line with whatever food they can actually muster up and send them. It's a huge expense on the Pakistani army. Keep threatening them. That's what I would do. I'll take option two. He wants to protect his party from being thrown out before any election can be held. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely correct. Now, I think another one question. Sarji, please don't call me sir. Adi will be fine. If you would think that the army is not willing to play in the open, then Imran will become more powerful if he will get elected by the year end. And I don't think Sharif can delay elections for long. That I agree with. They can't delay the elections after a certain point of time. It's gonna hit the roof. Secondly, the problem is I don't think Imran Khan would be allowed to win. I'm not talking about rigging. His character assassination will happen so badly. They'll probably find a link with a girlfriend in India or something like that and assassinate his character so that people don't do this. Or it'll be goodbye Imran Khan, if you know what I mean to say. There are loads of possibilities, and the army today seems desperate. That to me is a bit dangerous. The army is the one that is holding it together, and funnily speaking, the army of Pakistan today actually protects India. How? It keeps the TTP and all these nefarious elements across the Indus. So I'd rather have that army keep on fighting the TTP, keep on losing whatever they're losing, and staying there away from us. I don't want the TTP or any of their remnants coming this way. So God bless the Pakistani army and keep fighting the TTP. Lage raho. Ishan, thanks so much. How long can these guys take the world for granted by using their nukes as a shield for maintaining their military regime and terror attacks? Someday I'll cover a secret CIA plan to snatch these things. Uh, I don't know how much of a part we were playing in it, but there is a certain plan which is there. But having said that, look at North Korea. They're doing the same thing. If they didn't have the nukes, you think people would have tolerated what he's doing? No. He's in our neighborhood, so we kind of feel it a little more. But there are loads of these silly actors around the place. A lot of people would say Iran is doing the same thing. A lot of people will say. I may not say that, but a lot of people will say. And I'm not making a judgment on Iran right or wrong, but it's the same case and scenario. If Iranians make a bomb today, people will start tolerating them a whole lot more. And that's what needs to be. Understand the factor that the nukes need to be, we need to figure out a way to neutralize them or ensure that the Pakistani army is brought to a certain place where it hands over themselves. It's happened in the past, it can happen in the future. Right, and John Saab, you say we can hit them anytime. Great answer. Thank you so much. I believe that very carefully. We can hit them anytime of our choosing. Let them be on alert for the next 30 days. Spend fuel, spend ammunition, spend soldiers, and we'll see when to give it back to them. Thanks so much, guys. I'm sorry I am going to cut this short because I'm kind of feeling a little down. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. I've got a couple of very exciting shows coming up tomorrow, and of course, Saturday. Please don't forget to check in with me and General Narayan for our afternoon special, which has become a permanent affair. Till then, guys, thank you so much for joining in. All of you guys, it's an amazing experience to talk to you guys, to interact with all of you. And this is probably my first live I'm doing after solo live I'm doing after almost 2-3 weeks. It's fun getting it back. I'll try and do it more often. Till then, Jai Hind.